Hey, good evening, Horse investors. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. So, like I told you guys, I'm excited about working on really driving home what a contrarian is. So, like I said, eventually second quarter of this year, I hope to have everything completed where I'm really gonna drive home the contrarian. All right, all that other stuff like I don't I know a lot of people have different courses, things like that. Like, nah, we about to get dive deep, like truly what a contrarian really is and how to get down. So it's going to be vastly different from anything you've ever, had. So, and luckily you got some of the elements of, like some of the strategies or whatnot, but there's other tools and stuff that you can use to really drive home when it comes to that. So let's get to it. So we're on Fred. All right. So this is a federal database of economic data. Okay. All right. So Fred stands for Federal Reserve Economic Data. All right. So that's what it stands for. All right. So on this chart right here, we're going from 1948 up to February. I'm sorry, January 2nd of 2022. Okay. Now, I'm sorry, February 1st of 2022. So, um, what we're going to look at is I'm going to go look at a list of recessions that we've had, and I want to show you a pattern. Let's see. We're going to start like in the 50s. So let's start with 1953. We had a recession. All right. It tells you the duration of the months. So it lasts about 10 months. All right. And it'll give you the lapse of time. Let me circle it for you guys. So this was how much it lasted, and then this was how many the time period from the last one, which was this one in 1949. Okay, so let's take this off. All right, now, okay, we're gonna look at 1953, and then also you'll be able to look. You go to Wikipedia, you can look at this stuff, but it'll break down exactly what probably led to it. All right, so let's look 1953. All right, so we in 53. Okay, on the screen right here. So we're around like 2.5 for unemployment rate, right? So I'm about to show you this pattern what's going on. So remember, someone mentioned in the group, hey, it doesn't feel like a recession, right? And if you think about it, for everybody who's looking at this video, if you really think about it, this year maybe is starting to feel like a recession as far as because of the gas prices and food prices and stuff, right? But even during the pandemic year and a little bit after the 2021, it really didn't really hit people like that, right? Um, the government stepped in, they helped us. It was if you didn't even have a job, you were just making more money than going to work, right? So it didn't really feel like it. What I'm about to show you is that recessions don't create unemployment in the midst of a recession. That is where people get it wrong. We were in a recession. We're still currently in it. It's the aftershock that I'm going to show you guys. It's the aftershock. This is what's coming. We are in trouble. If you do not have your stuff together, we are in trouble. If you don't have your stuff together, here we go. May 1953, 2.5%. What do you notice? Woo! By 1954, we're at 6. It's drastic, right? We taper off. All right. Let's go back. Let's go look. 1958. Let's see what happens in 58. What do you know? All right. So we up here. We're at 7 something percent. All right. And we right here. All right. So in January was at 5.58. And of course, we went up to the height, but quickly we start to drop to find some form of balance. Okay, then we've hit somewhat like a double top, but it's not. And then we drop drastically. So let's look again, and we look at 1960, which all in this area here, as you see, now we're starting to drop. Okay, now watch this. Now we're going to 73, 75. Okay, so now we're at a four. Now, some of this data, not all of it's going to roll like this. As you can see, some of the recessions we did see unemployment rise, but we also saw a drastic drop right after, right? But it's those next waves that you have to be careful of that's coming, all right? So in 1973, we had the recession, but then you look by 75, we're up. It's an unemployment rate and then jumped again, right? Let's go to 80. And I heard the 80s was a rough time. So look at this. Here in the 80s, we had six. All right. We dropped down. And then the 83, we up at 10. But let's see how long the recession lasted in the 80s. Look at this, guys. It was 6 months. We was in a 6 month recession. 6 months. And then it was 4 years and 10 months later that we hit another recession. So you see these gaps. They're not, a lot of them are not that large. This was the largest one, and from the 60s all the way to here, we had that. All right. So even when you think about our timeline when we had that big, huge market collapse and the mortgage crisis in 2008, like that was crazy, right? But look how much we've been just skyrocketing ever since. All right. So let's look at some more um, early 90s. Okay. So early 90s. Let's look what's going on. All right, early 90s. All right. We're down. And let's see how long that recession lasted. 8 months. So we just go on to 90s. We in 91. Look what's happening. By 92, we up at the top. All right. And then we're not going down, right? So early 90s. All right, then we're going a 10-year run, guys. 10 years, basically. 10 years since that recession. So we're doing great, right? All right, we get the early 2000s. Why is it? Do y'all see the cycle that I'm showing you? Like when you have these big, massive runs, eventually there has to be something in the market to pull everything back to reality and back down. But the more we notice stuff, the better we will be, right? So, all right, we're into it. Okay, so y'all know the dot-com bubble. Did y'all remember the bubble? Well, some of us remember. I heard about it years later after it happened, but I wasn't in the. I was in school in 2000. I was a senior, you know, in high school, right? So, yeah. So you see, we had the dot-com bubble. Everything's bad, right? I guess you could say it's a recession, right? Look back. Yep, early 2000s during the recession period. We're supposed to be back here during the recession period. We okay. It's after almost 2 years, 2.5 years later. We up at 6.2. Okay, then we taper down. All right, we're in 2007. Then we in 2008. All right, we had the huge crisis. All right, and then it took us into 2010, which again is 2 years later. If you think about it now, 2008 we got crushed, but then the market, even the stock market, started to make a pretty good recovery. Now I'm gonna pull up a chart too. Matter of fact, what is that? January 2010. So let's go pick up the SP 500. Let's go on the weekly, and let's go to SPX SP 500, and let's see what happened. We said 2008, 2007. All right, so 2009, 8. So, okay, so we got this big, huge drop right here. So it's 2007. All right, so we got that. All right, so we got this move up. All right, let's go back and look. And we was up here 2010. Let's go see what 2010 looked like over here. All right, so this is about January 2010 right here. So if you look, guys, see this from here all the way to here, basically, we had a 66% gain on the S&P, but yet, what is this, January? Yeah. So that's crazy, right? The unemployment rate was rising this whole entire time, but at the same time, stock market rallying too. So that's what at one point when Biden was arguing with Trump about, it was like, bro, man, the stock market is not an indication that the economy is doing well. It could be a verse, right? So what I'm telling you this for? I'm telling you because that's where the opportunities for us come when we look at markets. We look at the currencies market, which is forex. You look at commodities. You look at crypto. You look at stocks. You start to build a pretty good, well-rounded hedging system to where you like, oh, people getting laid off. They're doing this. They're like, why are you investing? Then you look up. They're like, wow, they're making money. They're doing well. Why everybody else is struggling? What do they know that I don't? Just like the same people who pumped in an ungodly amount of money when the market had dropped back in March of 2020, and you look what happened. Somebody knew. Well, guess what, guys? You're gonna know this time too. Instead of just sitting and being afraid. Okay. All right. So we got this 2010. All right, and then unemployment starts to drop. So remember on this, going down is what we want. We want people working, right? For the most part. Okay. But here's the issue is that when you look at these charts, like in February of 2020, of course, the now we got an anomaly on here. All right. We had our pandemic. Okay. So since our pandemic hit, this is look at the height of this, guys. Since the 50s on this chart, look, this is probably the highest ever in history outside of maybe the Great Depression. All right. I can see if I can go back to the Great Depression on here. I have to see it like it only go to 1948. Um, but okay, so it's at 14.7% unemployment. But we know the reason of that unemployment, right? We know the reason of that. At that time, we weren't in a recession, guys. We was just in a whole economic just shut down. That's not a recession. If anything, 2020 was close to what we call a depression to a certain extent, because I mean it just completely just annihilated almost everything, right? Like just things just shut down, right? Some businesses never recovered. It's a lot going on. But because a lot of stuff that was backlogged, like you got now people like, yo, you owe me this with these rent, more real estate. Like everybody coming, like, oh nah, you had your payments paused, but you owe me now, boom, boom, boom. Like all that stuff is gonna start coming to the forefront, right? So then now we get this nice drop. We're tapering off. So now the unemployment is great, right? We had 3.9 and some change, right? Let me see if it goes over anymore. I don't know if it can slide over anymore. That's the furthest I can. go. Oh, I see. Okay, we got February on here. So February we at 3.8%. All right, for 2022. But what do you notice on the chart, guys? You notice on the chart that uh, we either gonna go on a consolidation. Okay, we may consolidate on this line graph like this. Is how we consolidate right here, but it's shaping up. It's shaping up because why? We had a full impulse, then we had a full retracement, but this impulse is still valid. Just like if I take these impulses right here and I pull down a Fibonacci retracement, what do you think you're going to see? This is probably extension. So, but if you look at this, these are decades though, right? You got to understand the way our economy works. It's not about you right now. You're looking at this chart. This is our grandparents. These are our parents, maybe our great grands. We're looking at them with all they went through, basically. If you take this from 1948 on up to now, we're looking at this economic and unemployment data based off of all of them and including us. So we can't see nothing past this because that's the future, right? But if historical data gives us an idea, yo, we going up. And when I say about we're almost printing a what? A double bottom. What do you think happens on double bottoms? This is a double bottom. Of course, it's a line chart, but what happens? You get an upward move. Look at this. High, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low. Just another low, another higher low, but then you get a higher high. All right. And then we try to make an attempt here, we recover. Then we just make another higher high. This is the highest highs of highs. So if we move back up here to this area, what is this? A lower high. So going back up means that we possibly have another round of some huge unemployment that's coming in the future. Will 2022 be it? We may not. It's very possible that 2023, 2024 is the one. And also we got the what? I believe is it the election year 2023, I believe. I don't know. I got my mind all messed up, but you got to factor in that as well too, right? So I just wanted to show you that when we are in a recession, it doesn't feel like a recession. It's the aftershock that gets us. It's afterwards. It's just that now, what's crazy now is that we have what? We have jobs that can't find workers. And you're gonna now mix that with when it's time for them to really truly lay off, and then there is no jobs because jobs are now having to shutter and close up. That's gonna be a problem. Plus, all the posts I just made on the interest rates, the feds cannot continue to keep those low rates because low rates do what? It invites uh, oversaturation in the market. So when the markets are oversaturated with fake money, just to be honest, it causes a bubble. All right. And this bubble has been tried to be kept, intact. We did get a deflation, and the deflation, it deflated too fast. And the feds came in and saved it in March of 2020. And then look what happened. It expanded back to its a size that was bigger than before it dropped. That is unsustainable. Who can justify? Look at this, guys. How the world of the stock market rally and break records when we at 14.7% unemployment? Explain that. Look, guys, this whole entire game that they're playing, it's a game, but it got real, true consequences emotionally attached to it. They don't care about your emotions at all. There's people out here really suffering. So I ask you guys, like, stop playing for real. Like, everybody, we gotta get serious. We gotta get better. Like, I ain't not creating no dark horse corners for y'all to think that everything I'm trying to do, everything. No, we're trying to. If it's a lot of smart people in this group, get trained up, get better, add more value. You got some things, add to the group. Let people know. Some of you in the group are insurance brokers. Man, talk about your business. I don't care. Do something like if that's gonna help people get on the right track. Maybe somebody listening to this video, you don't even have life insurance policy. Well, hit up Caleb. All right, he in the group. Dominguez. He does other insurance policies. Uh, Carlos, he does credit repair and all other stuff like that. If you need that, hit him up. Like this is supposed to be a group where people can give resources and we can get ahead and at the same time use contrarian principles. It takes a village, not just one person. So as I get smarter, I give to the group, and as y'all get smarter, you can do the same thing. Some of you guys out there doing some wonderful things that I'm not even involved in. Some of you doing stuff with staking pools and stuff like that, and oracles and DAOs and all that. That's not my lane. I don't do those things, but that's great. Some of you great in real estate. Hey, network, whatever. I'm not in the real estate outside of a few things that we got as far as it's concerned with real estate, but that's not my main lane. But if somebody on here, if it is yours, then make it happen. So at the end of the day, make this video short, end it. But yo, it's work to do. And we're gonna have to do the work in the midst of adversity. You can't do the work when everything is calm and just kumbaya. No. Your real work in life is going to be in the face of adversity. You're going to have to be challenged. And that's going to prove to you whether or not this is what's meant for you to do. And if it's about, my whole objective was to build generational wealth, I got to make a whole lot of generational sacrifices to make it happen. It is what it is. And it ain't going to be pretty. So if you came, drop horse coins, thought this thing was going to be pretty, and you're just going to make all this money forever and ever without going through the fire, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's not going to work. It don't work on anybody's timeline. Unless you were just blessed to be lucky to be born in a lifetime where you just won the lottery and you're just good to go. But even then, 87% of them go back broke. So we're back at square one. So get your psychology together, get your plans together. I know I'm gonna be beefing up, getting more content that's easily to be followed, but at the same time, y'all still gonna have to do the work and actually read it because a vast majority don't even go through all the content we already have. So it is what it is. But y'all have a great night. May the horse be with you.